Bonjour, c'est Elfie Lebouleux et vous écoutez le Marvel Card Collector Podcast.
Hello everybody, my name is still Ian Taylor and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. That's actually quite a mouthful.
It's nice,
brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this very podcast, so come check us out. With me as always is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. Do not underestimate the power of PlayStation. I'm Atari. Play me. Now you're playing with power, superpower, and many, many more. He reaches into his drawers and pulls out his joystick for a quick waggle because he's game. It's Norrin Rad.
Wow. That might be too far. You might have just crossed the line of sexy goodness.
I actually think I might have crossed into some sort of weird alternative dimension where I was watching myself from up there say those very words. And the reason I went there with that intro is because just before we started recording, I held up my glass with my pinky finger raised, as I do, and had a little sip of gin and lemonade.
Ian is ready to record this podcast.
You said something in a voice that sounded like Abe from Abe's Odyssey. Now, you're not going to be able to do it again now, are you?
I know, I'm so nervous. I'll do it in the middle of the episode if I remember. But now I'm nervous. And the impression.
Yeah.
Did you sell all of your games from that collection? I know you've been trying to sell that stuff.
Yes. No, there was a local dealer. Oi, got any games? Who finally found, because he's loads of people have been selling up recently in that hobby. I think because of lockdowns and things, there's lots of people who, lots of people lost their jobs and shizzle.
Yeah.
But yeah, he finally came along and got them, and I got maybe 500 less than I wanted to for the lot, but he took them all away, and physically there were boxes and boxes of them. And
that's important, man.
They're just gone. So, it's
at that point, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, it's 4 figures. I still got 4 figures for them. I got £1,500 or something.
That's nice, man. What are you going to do? Like, really worry about $500 at that point? Because then you'd have to ship them all, and then all that craziness.
Exactly. That's why I did it. So, so I, and that's gone straight onto my credit card because I'm a good boy.
Smart man. That's the way to do it, man.
I am a good boy. I'm a very good boy.
You're a good boy.
I'm a good boy, yeah.
Sling blade.
Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. I wondered what I was doing. You know what? Right. That Bill Paxton, for some bizarre reason.
Beautiful.
For some bizarre reason. No, you just reminded me of this. I've been spending all day getting really into Aliens. And you know why? It's because my brother has got Disney Plus and he shared a login with us. So I logged into it in my browser. So while I was working this morning, on the screen over here, I had Aliens playing. And I got half as much work done as I should have done, but I loved it. It was brilliant.
We ain't going to make it, man. What are we doing, man? We got to get out of here.
Game over, man. Game over. And it kind of,
over, man.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me why I went so mad on Aliens autographs recently, because I just love that.
I love it.
And then I went into a deep dive on IMDb, reading about all the actors who are in the company and where they are now. And 3 of them have died. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of them,
some passed away.
Died in 2018, but he was getting on a bit. But 2 of them, the guy who played Crow, died in the early 90s. In a stunt that went wrong. His parachute didn't open because he was also a stunt guy. And then the guy who played Crow, who's an English guy from Essex, he died a couple of years ago now. I just think he like natural causes or whatever. So it's bizarre, but anyway, I just kind of went down this rabbit hole. And then I went and listened to a podcast interview with Bill Paxton's son, who is 27 and also an actor.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I've properly been going for it today. Anyway, that's by the by. Norrin, did you know we have had another review on iTunes?
Ooh.
It's let me just find it. I should have found it before. I can only have one thing open at the same time. Otherwise, I
think you shared it with me.
I think
it was really
nice.
With you.
But for the life of me, can I find it? Can I? No.
We'll never know.
No. One thing I can tell you, however, there's a wonderful little thing that I've subscribed to that sends me a daily email to tell me where we are in different hobby charts. In different podcast charts, and it's quite funky because it kind of gives you the overall position in your category. So it only does categories. So in the hobbies category, and I think it just looks at Apple Podcasts, so iTunes. And then it gives you a breakdown if you're charting on specific episodes. And because I get it daily, I like to watch it. So, and here's something you might never have known. So overall hobby podcast, so this is just in hobbies podcast, not specific episode.
Okay.
We are 36th in Guatemala.
We're 35th in Guatemala? Really?
36th, 36th. That's up 4 on yesterday. At one point, we were the number 1 hobby podcast in Guatemala. I've no idea. I'm not even sure where Guatemala
That's actually really cool.
But that is actually pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
So, when we come
we were
to
number
merge,
1 for how long?
But I've got no idea because I haven't subscribed to it. So it only sends me little snippets. But I know I'm paying money for this.
Well, obviously.
But at one point, we were the number 1 hobby podcast in Guatemala. So can we put that on one of our T-shirts, please?
I'm actually going to write that down. No joke. I was number 1 in Guatemala.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, there's a Guatemala Pepsi cards there's like a I mean, I don't think we actually
there's no
were
context to how many people are listened to. Anyway.
No, obviously, but like I'm going to use it for my ego.
Yeah, but our most recent episode is currently
not enjoy that.
Our most recent episode is currently at 142 on the Apple Podcasts Hobbies charts in Canada, for example. It's most bizarre.
That's still pretty good for 142. How many podcasts? I mean,
I have no idea. There are actually an awful lot in the United States. So this is just for the United States. We're currently 144th in hobby podcasts. Now, given how many there are in the US, that's actually not too bad. We've gone up 67 since yesterday.
What?
67. That's how many hobby podcasts there are. So yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely
We're
crazy.
Amazing.
Well, dear. But the wonderful thing about this app is it also tells us when someone's left us a review on one of the channels. And of course, we did just get a review on iTunes, which I'm scrolling through because I get these every day. And of course, can I find the email now?
You know what? I think I'm going to write that in my Instagram intro that we were the number 1 podcast in Guatemala.
Mate, I read it.
I think I'm going to do it.
I'm going to have to find it. It's brilliant. But every now and again, some of our podcasts from before episode 100 just randomly pop up into the charts. And it's like, bizarrely, one of them that keeps reappearing is Mr. Whippy's 99th episode spectacular. I don't know why. I mean, it was a good episode. I'm not saying it's our greatest work, but it's a good episode. But I tell you, the ones that do come up a lot are the Q&A did.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah. No, I'm not. They're some of our highest rated ones. So tonight, folks, we're going to do some of that again, but we'll come on to that in a moment.
That's exciting.
I say tonight. Anyway, I found the review. It's a 5-star review. How many, Norrin?
5-star.
5 stars, 5 golden stars from Dave C. Marley. Dave Marley, you are a scholar and a gent via Apple
That's money
Podcasts.
Well spent. Just
in
kidding,
the United
Dave.
States of America. Fun commentary and insight into classic and modern Marvel sets. Unquestionably, the go-to podcast for Marvel cards. Hosts Ian and Norrin touch on all aspects of the Marvel trading card community and experience, from previews and reviews of newly released sets, retrospective commentary on older sets, and trends, commentary on the various phases of Marvel cards. Isn't that brilliant?
That's so nice.
Isn't he a nice man?
That is a nice man.
Oh, hang on.
Took the time.
The review went on. Oh, my goodness. I only saw a snippet. The review goes on actually quite a long way. So we'll carry on. Commentary on the various phases of Marvel cards, e.g. the 90s boom or the Rittenhouse era, and interviews with artists, industry insiders and collectors. Start listening for the interviews with the people who created your favourite sets. Hear Dave Palumbo talk through his Marvel Masterpieces 2020 process, for example. And you'll no doubt end up appreciating all of the contents the guys produce. As with many good podcasts, the more familiarity you have with the hosts, and the rhythm of the show, the more you'll enjoy it. Thanks for the great work, guys. I'll do that again.
I don't want to do it too often. I am married.
I was sorry. I was braced for it.
People get a little too excited. Sorry about that. Gotta be careful. I dress like a bum not to have my animal magnetism be too strong on people. Dave, that was really nice and so well worded and written. That was really awesome, actually.
Thank you for taking the time.
Really appreciate that. Seriously, thank you.
So our plea 2 episodes ago for people who dig us to review us generated 1 gorgeous review. So thank you for that, Dave. I
love that.
Really appreciate that. What else was I going to say? And there was something else. So, last episode, Angelo Di Capua.
Yes.
I think I got his name right.
Nailed it.
I think I got his name right. Oh, he's a lovely man. He got so excited about us talking about him and sharing his stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just got an absolute torrent of love from him and his girlfriend, whose lovely hands were in that video.
Oh,
you remember we were speculating on whether it was his hands?
I thought it was a woman's hands. I was like, no way. And then I felt bad because if it was his, there's no shame in having beautiful, dainty hands.
And she has joined the group.
No.
She has joined the group. Yeah. Her name is Larissa.
That's awesome.
And she has joined the group.
Welcome, Larissa.
So, yeah. But no, we had a lovely message from Angelo. He sent me some pictures of more of his cards. And he's obviously sent it as he's been listening to it. He's going, I love so much the podcast, episode 106. Thanks for analysing my artwork. I loved the review and all the podcast was just great. Brilliant work. Just for curiosity, those are not my hands on the video. It's my girlfriend. She has beautiful hands.
I love it. Oh, that's so fella. Sweet.
So really nice guy. And then his what's this? Every now and again we get random messages to our Instagram. I'm sure I get these all the time. Hello, I want to sale me Marvel card. Okay, moving on.
I get those too. I love it.
Oh, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And the most and that person's name.
I asked for pictures because you never know.
No, last time I asked for pictures, I had police come around my house. Anyway, I was also...
You have to be careful.
I do have to be careful. I'm a very respectable 48.
And that's the last time I said you anything.
I'm 48 now, Norrin. I'm getting old. Let me have a slip.
You're not 48. You're 48 for real?
I was 48 last birthday.
Not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, bits haven't quite started falling off me yet, but some of them are working their way loose.
God, I just got so scared. I just got
an image there, didn't you? So
I was like, oh God. It was really hanging off. What were you saying?
Let's move on to talk about Alex Magno. Why do I want to talk about Alex Magno? Because today is Monday as we record, and today is #Magno Monday. Can we just talk about Jake Glassbrenner and his brother David and their wonderful Magno Monday?
I'm so mad at them.
It's so good.
I'm so mad at them. They have such a good collection.
They have amazing collections. So
he does great work, man.
Jake and David, first of all, please come on the podcast, both of you.
I love those guys so much. You have no idea. They are some of my favorite people in the hobby.
They are they're the best nice collectors.
They are my Star Wars mentors. They should be my Marvel mentors because they're just as deep in Marvel, but they are super special to me. Good people.
They are nice. They are good. They are good people. Good people.
They really are.
And they've started doing this thing in appreciation of Alex Magno, where for about the last 3 months, every Monday, they post an Alex Magno sketch. #Magno Monday. And today's is from Marvel Heroes and Villains. So it's from 2010. This sketch is almost a teenager. And it's of Elektra. The background's on, you can't see it, can you? No. You can look at it on the group. It's just been posted 4 minutes ago. And it's brilliant. Alex Magno.
I'm trying to find it now.
We need Alex Magno on this podcast.
He's awesome. He's so underrated. He's so underrated.
Yeah, I've got a couple of cats by him. It's so good. Are you seeing it now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. God, that looks good.
It looks good, doesn't it?
So mad at him. I've had multiple chances to get surfers from him. And there's one I found on Google Images that I'm just waiting to pop because I just love it so much. But yeah, I got the Mystique I've showed you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I got that from Kevin Letty. Is that Kevin 1 or Kevin 2?
That's Kevin 2.
Kevin 2. Yeah, I got one from Kevin 2. Just so kind. But yeah.
Kevin 2.
He's great. I really think, what I like about Magno so much is that he's just such a good storyteller that every sketch he does has a really interesting story to it. It's a great reference to something, or if it's completely unique in his own mind. And it's just such a good visual storyteller.
Yeah, I like his line work. It's so tight.
So good. Yeah, it's really good, man. He gets the emotion completely out of whatever you know what I mean? Like it's just there. Yeah. Good piece.
No, we like it. We like it. And before you would think he'd introduce this podcast, but he didn't, of course. Elfie Lebouleux, we couldn't resist another use of your marvelous Francais introduction. Simply because
so nice.
It's beautiful. And I love Elfie's work. Elfie's brilliant. Elfie's been doing some amazing YouTube content, and my goodness, she's been at it for probably over a year now, but she does so much. Wow. I mean, her feed has got so many videos on it now. I'm just trying to find it so I can pimp it. But I've just realized I can't actually spell her surname without it's not recognizing it. Let's type that in. No, I've got it wrong. Elfie, I should have prepared this. Quite frankly, I didn't, as you can tell. Let me type in Elfie sketch card, and that will definitely find it. Yes, there we go. So she's on. Here we go. Elfie Leb on YouTube, and it's just really cool. Go and check her out. And she does really fun videos. And Elfie, we love you.
Elfie.
We love you. So thank you, Elfie, for doing those intros for us. Now, we did a poll, and I'm not talking about someone from Poland.
Oh, I thought you meant that time we went to a strip and I got no. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. I've still got skin grafts on my legs healing.
Yeah. By the way, that was hardcore, man. You were so good.
Well, it's years of practice, isn't it? At that time, I went to Euro Disney and podium danced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. So we did a poll because we asked, I can't remember, all the episodes are merging into one now, dear. It happens when you get to my age.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, God, there he goes again.
No, I meant, oh, God, like I'm already forgetting things at 35 and I'm already forgetting stuff. It's going to be bad.
35, you're a whippersnapper. We asked a question about whether, if we kind of started, doing more stuff in the way of merch and maybe some extra content or gated content or stuff like that.
Yeah.
People will be up for it. And someone, one of our listeners, Dustin Wilder, bless him, who's been jonesing for some podcast merchandise, but he's yet to trade or buy anything off me, which is why he hasn't got any, because I've not been selling it. So anyway, there's two aspects to this. First of all, Dustin, DM me your address and I'll send you some for free for being our unofficial spokesperson. He put a post on group asking about it, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a poll. So my poll was, first question, and there's going to be follow-up polls. My first question: if Norrin and Ian created merchandise with the podcast and or group branding, would you buy it? Simply yes or no for now. We'll ask follow-up questions on what merchandise if the results skew yes. Have you looked at the result?
Yes, it's a lot. I'm trying to find it now and I can't seem to find it.
It's 52 votes yes and 1 no.
Why can't I find it?
So that's, obviously that's only of the people who engaged with it and saw it, because Facebook algorithms and that.
I died at the no. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, well, no, I'm not going to listen. It's not for everyone. So I get it. It's fine. One person commented, depends on what it looked like, which is perfectly valid.
That was funny.
The one on Instagram, I did an Instagram story. I had a whale of a time doing that Instagram story. I had T-shirts and hoodies dancing.
What?
The Instagram one was 87% yes. And the Twitter one only had 2 votes. And it was 100% yes. So
That's great.
Twitter Schmitter. We've never had that much traction.
Twitter
Schmitter. So we will be posting a follow-up questionnaire about that, because the next thing is, what do we do? Now, I've always wanted a T-shirt and I've always wanted a sweatshirt. I don't have either, so I'm sat here naked from the waist up. But
so I haven't bought you a T-shirt.
No, thank you. Pin badges, but where would I put them without a T-shirt?
On your nips, man. Exactly. What is up? Are you not even trying? What is badges.
This? We have done some test runs of stuff. We did some acrylic kind of badges, but they just don't work. They look really.
I did a sweater.
They don't look good
for Sketch Card Hive as a test for the podcast, because did I tell you I tried T-shirts and it didn't work out? Okay. They came out really fuzzy, so I got my money back. But they were very nice and refunded me immediately. So I thank you so much. But the sweater actually is very nice. And the logo, I haven't washed it yet. The material is really nice.
How long have you been doing content?
I've put it on sweater for 30 minutes. It's been worn on my body for less than 4 hours. How dare you, sir? Okay. Ew, really? Ew, really?
Didn't
really?
You drive to a show and have a chicken?
You currently don't have a T. That was just for camera because I'm conceited. Okay. It was hot, man. I just put it on just to put it on. But what I wanted to say was that the logo hasn't chipped away. You know how some shirts with the logo, you know how like flakes off or whatever. Yeah. So it hasn't happened yet. But the sweaters can be expensive.
Yeah.
So I think
that was expensive.
Yeah. So, it's a tough thing to try out. I think the best way we're going to have to do it is basically get like everyone's orders in. You know what I mean? Get the money and then make the order, because otherwise.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can either get a company to do all the fulfillment, so they kind of make them to order, something like
but don't you
or something like that, or you can make them yourself and have to do all the postage yourself. So it kind of goes back to the whole video game thing as to whether you want to actually do all that.
You could do the merch table.
It doesn't have to be merch table. Well, there are other providers out there that I think are just as good. I need to speak to. I tell you, we need to get on Rodney Roberts, Art Nerd. He's one of the guys that does Meanwhile at the podcast.
Oh,
and I can't believe we've not crossed over. I mean, I've gone on there, but I think you couldn't make it. We need to have a crossover with those guys, because they're really
I'm
cool.
Down always.
Yeah, no, they're lovely fellows. Anyway, Rodney does stuff, and he had another provider, and he was kind of rating it quite highly. So let me check with him. Huh. Anyway, it occurred to me that being 72% of our audience are American, you guys are mad for bumper stickers.
Not really.
Aren't you? I thought bumper stickers were a thing, or is that only in certain states?
I might be the outcast. I might be the black sheep of America.
I honestly thought bumper stickers were a good thing in America.
I mean, there's tons of things around here, but they're so annoying. Like, I just feel like, oh God, dude, I have to see your car. Do I have to know everything you believe in too? It's like, so like, ugh, God. Yeah, I know you're vegan. Whatever. I don't care. I don't have to stare at it when I'm in traffic. I don't know. I'm from Miami though. Staring at bumpers is annoying already.
Fair enough. What's, do you know, you've heard of Linda McCartney, haven't you?
Of course. Sure.
Yeah.
What? No, who's that?
Paul McCartney's ex. Well, I say ex-wife. She's died now. That's why she's ex.
Okay. No. What about her?
No. Well, I was going to tell you.
I can't say anything bad.
No, I was going to tell you a really
she
poor
passed
taste.
away.
Yeah, and that's why it's a really poor taste
Oh
joke.
God, Ian.
So I was gonna say, if there was a really famous vegan or vegetarian person in America who'd passed away, I could ask you who that was, and then we could edit this bit out, and then the joke would work. I'm going to say it anyway because I've started so often.
Are you serious? You're really going to say No, come on. She passed away.
Yeah, like 20 years ago.
Okay, you've already started with the joystick. Now we're going to go down this road.
Oh, dear.
Is there no end to your madness?
No, there isn't, quite frankly.
It's a bottomless well.
It's a bottomless something. Bottomless gin and lemonade, I think.
Mimosas.
So bumper stickers. Yeah, no, acrylic. The acrylic just chipped. I got them to redo them and as a test run. Even the nice smooth ones doesn't really work because they put the logo under the acrylic, so you've still got a layer of clear stuff. So when you look at it from the side, it looks like those prescription glasses that are so thick you could see.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, no, I'm not going to have that. But the pin badges work really well. The coasters worked really well.
I like coasters. I'm still using mine. I like them.
And what else? I did some stickers as well, like big ass stickers.
Stickers are nice.
So stickers are good.
Like Graded Gamer does great stickers. I love those stickers.
Well, she put us onto Sticker Mule, who we've done our test runs from. But if you I take her advice and I just buy some whenever they're doing a deal.
Yeah, smart.
You buy them normal price. You'd be like, So I don't know. I just did them as testers, really, just to check it out and have some stuff. So who knows? Who knows what we'll do? But I will put a poll up next in the next few days.
That's what I agree. I think like polls should be t-shirts, sweaters. What do they want?
What kind of thing?
Because I think it's going to be between t-shirts and sweaters. I think that's what everybody would want.
No, someone's going to want a bandana, kind of 80s, early 90s Rambo style.
That's right. That will be me. So perfect.
Yeah, someone's going to want one of those. I'm going
to wear it around my neck, though.
Speaking of 80s things, my wife and I have been rewatching a few movies from the 80s of recent. We do a movie every Saturday night. And about 6 weeks ago, we watched St. Elmo's Fire. And then last Saturday, we watched The Lost Boys. Okay. Now, first of all, St. Elmo's Fire totally doesn't hold up. And The Lost Boys barely does. Barely. In both of them, in one particular scene, and in one movie, it was Rob Lowe doing this. In the other movie, it was some unknown fellow, and he wasn't on screen that much. There's someone who is almost completely naked, top half, really buff, usually oiled up, playing the saxophone in some naff kind of band that's playing to people getting really excited. And it seems to be a real trope of 80s movies of a certain period where people were wildly partying and the lead singer was a wildly popular saxophonist who also sang and was semi-naked and usually a bit buff.
Is that also in Risky Business, which is a horrible movie? But I feel like in Risky Business, doesn't he also is half naked with a saxophone?
I don't know. But anyway,
you're right. That is a thing.
Times they had something around their heads, like holding their mullets.
You know what? I think you're right. Yeah. I think that's a thing.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's weird.
Bizarre? Anyway, so we might take a break. The one movie we did watch from the 80s that totally holds up, and if anyone says otherwise, fight me, it's Crocodile Dundee. Oh,
hell yeah.
Oh, I love that film.
Love that. That's not a knife. He pulls out the best. I loved Crocodile Dundee. Still do. Amazing. Actually, funny story time. I love it. So Emily gets very nervous when I suggest movies to her. Not because they're not good, but because I am more of a person who remembers the nostalgic feeling of a movie I once watched rather than a good movie. Okay. So I suggest, hey, why don't we watch Crocodile Dundee? She looked at me and she got so freaked out that she was going to have to sit through Crocodile Dundee. And I asked her, I said, how about we watch that? She said, oh, I've seen it. I was like, oh, really? She goes, yeah, of course I've seen it. She hadn't seen it. But I said, yeah. Oh, really? You have? Yeah, sure. I was like, tell me one line from the movie. And she's like, I think we're going to need a bigger knife. and she mixed up Jaws and Crocodile Dundee because I had made her so nervous about watching this movie that she ran to anything she could remember to shut me up. And I felt so guilty, but I died. So now we're always joking about it constantly. Like we're always saying, no, it's great. It was a great moment. No, she tripped. We didn't watch it. She's very much the role maker.
Can I just say guilty pleasure time?
Please.
You know that there are some obvious sequels that people do really rate above the originals, like Aliens versus Alien, Empire Strikes Back versus Star Wars, Godfather 2 versus Godfather 1, although Godfather 3 I absolutely love.
All good sequels.
Crocodile Dundee 2 is actually a really good film.
I've seen it. It's when he's in the city. I love it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I've not watched Crocodile Dundee 3 yet, and there's a fourth kind of Crocodile Dundee, almost semi-autobiographical one that he was.
Beverly Hills Cop. That's one you should watch from the 80s. That was good. Eddie Murphy.
No, we will do. We've got obviously Ferris.
Ferris Bueller. I mean, you can't top that.
What else are we going to... Well, Ghostbusters is timeless.
Killer.
I also saw the trailer for the new one that you'd seen.
Isn't it good? Afterlife.
So good. It's
so good.
Where Aykroyd picks up the phone.
Yeah. At the occult books, I died. I was like freaking out. So cool.
Loved it. So good. Yeah. Anyway, so 80s movies that don't hold up. Elmer's Fire and Lost Boys. Sorry, folks.
There's some really good ones. I'm gonna have to get my. The Thing. Kurt Russell.
The Thing. Oh yeah.
Is that 80s? That has to be 80s.
82. Yeah. And Aliens.
The Fly.
The Fly. Help me. Oh no, that Help Me's from the original.
That's the first one, baby. Yeah, when I saw that, my wife and I were like freaking out.
I know.
We were like, that was scary. Yeah. Black and white, but like, help me. That's horrifying. That was good.
Can I just say sequels that nobody likes that I do? While we're still talking about that, Staying Alive, the Saturday Night Fever sequel. I love it.
I've never seen it.
It's awful, but it's brilliant.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Definitely see it. Never see Donnie Darko 2, by the way. S. Darko. Don't do that.
I didn't even know that was this thing. Holy crap, that's scary. The first one's great.
Yeah, the first one's amazing. Good piece. Right. We should, we could talk about
get back to our questions.
But we're not going to. So anyway, merch. Yeah. We will
merch
work to make it happen. So the other day, we put this up and then we postponed the recording. So we were going to do these questions on the next episode of the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. You can find us on all good podcast outlets and on social media at the MCC Pod. So throw us a like and a follow, and thank you for enjoying this hobby with us every week. There's the advert.
I love it.
Norrin?
Yes.
What do vegetarian worms eat?
I give up. What do vegetarian worms eat?
Linda McCartney. Told you I'd slip that one in. Anyway.
Wow.
Oh, dear. Right. Questions. So, and we had some really, really good questions. The first question was, who's the special guest? And you'll find that out. So, oh my goodness. I'm going to get, should I share screen? We did talk about this.
Please.
I was going to share screen because
I was trying to find it online. But
no,
I appreciate the share.
That's okay. Let me just, multiple participants can share simultaneously. Ooh, give me a shudder. Right. Can you see my, no, you can't because I haven't shared it yet.
Not yet.
Helps if I press the button, baby. Helps
the button.
Don't know if that text is big enough on your screen.
I can see it.
Gorgeous. Right. We're going to start with Matt Malachak. Hopefully that's how you pronounce your name. I've traded with Matt. Matt's a good guy. He's an awesome fella. Right, so he asked this in, we posted it in both groups. So this was in MMC. Not sure if this is the type of cue you were looking for, but was wondering how artists, collectors and developers feel about Disney involvement in Marvel Card Universe. Sure, there are both pros and cons of once, and wanted to hear some takes on it. I myself have been conflicted on some days I hate, and other days I say, well, so-and-so wouldn't be possible without them. Interesting. Wow.
We've heard a lot of different takes from artists, collectors, and developers. I mean, my opinion is I'm very happy they're involved. And the reason for that is because I think for me as a collector, it excites me to see that something I'm into will be protected pretty much always. You know what I mean? It's kind of like for instance, I'm really into Konami's Silent Hill.
Yes.
And that had a huge falling out to the point where the person they had for it pulled out on doing a proper Silent Hill, which hadn't been around for a while. And there were like problems with the developers and problems with the PlayStation company and Konami. And it was just a nightmare. And it ruined a whole game. Like I ran out to buy a PS4 for this game back in the day. I know I ran because the game was coming out. It was PT was the trailer, but it was really Silent Hill. And that's how much of a fan I am. And it was completely destroyed and the project never came out. And there's hardly any merch. And it's really difficult to find anything fun from that. And, that just won't happen with Disney. You know what I mean? They won't let certain Marvel characters get too saturated. They'll protect their IP. Same thing with Star Wars, because that's also Disney. So from my standpoint, I really am grateful for their involvement. So I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. I mean, it does mean that, it's not going anywhere. Marvel cards will
That's what I like
continue
about it,
to be produced as long as it makes the money. And if it doesn't make the money, then they'll change the way they put out content in that format.
Or just volts it up. You know what I mean? And they'll just go quiet for a little bit, but it won't go away.
Bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think obviously there's the main frustration we tend to hear on this regard is twofold. I think, first of all, there's obviously the whole approvals aspect.
Yeah.
And I know that Disney own Marvel, but make no mistake, it's still the people that work at Marvel who are the people that are the conduit for approving work that goes into sets. But obviously that has been massively impacted by brand guidelines that come down from their parent company. So I think that has been having an impact for a number of years now. I don't think the whole banned character thing, I think that was happening before Disney were in the frame anyway.
No, that was way before. That was just because they had Marvel was really had problems, guys. Like, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I mean, you remember, right? Marvel had to sell off characters. Like it was rough for them to stay afloat for a little while. It wasn't until they made themselves very much like a staple in pulp culture with Iron Man and stuff like that, when, things changed for them pretty significantly. But, some of their biggest characters were sold to Fox.
Yeah.
And they tried coming out with movies before that were just not great. And they were just, they just didn't have the cash flow behind them. So,
there's that as well. But I think a lot of one of the things that people might not be aware of, which is why we had 3 Spider-Man reboots over the last 20 years, is that if Fox didn't have a property in development or in production in a certain time frame, and it wasn't a massively long, I think it was maybe 3 years,
some kind of crazy rotation,
then the rights reverted back to Marvel.
Yep.
Which is why Spider-Man got rebooted so quickly after Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi finished their run. And, that's another reason why the whole... Spider-Man's a slightly funny one in that it's Sony, it's not Fox. But that, X-Men, for example, that's why the X-Men keeps getting, rebooted.
Over and over again.
And a lot of people are probably thinking that, oh, hang on a minute. Well, Disney owns 20th Century Fox now, because I was able to watch the aforementioned Aliens on Disney Plus this morning.
Yeah.
But that might be the case that they own them, but that doesn't mean that all of the legal contracts about who owns what and who has,
because that stuff takes,
they have to let those contracts run their course.
Yeah.
So this is why effectively Disney now own the rights back to Fantastic Four and Surfer in movies. Same with X-Men, but they haven't suddenly started putting out. Well, they suddenly haven't started reappearing into cards, for example. on that.
That stuff takes time. You see them in Funko Pops.
Yeah.
And things are happening.
They need to wait for the different licensing contracts that are already in place to run their course.
Yeah.
So it's, and I only kind of know it at the surface level. Licensing and brand IP law is furiously complicated. It really is. And although the Netflix properties, finished, if you like, on Netflix, there's a reason why we haven't seen any more Daredevil or Punisher yet. It's because they had to let that rights run its course, which I believe the first one of them has now lapsed back to Marvel Studios. I can't remember which one it was. It might be Daredevil, which is why there's all these rumors of Daredevil possibly appearing in the next Spider-Man movie. Yeah. No, it's not Far From Home. It's
No Way Home.
No Way Home. That's it. Yeah. They like the word home in those Spider-Man movies, don't they?
I mean, it's the thing that's been going through the first two pieces, which is pretty great, actually, because it works out for like multiverse stuff, right?
I guess so.
Far From Home, that's going to be great.
Yeah. So it's a tricky thing. And then, actually, no, that is the other point I was meaning to make, was the whole banned character thing and how that plays into it. But I know people often think that is slightly related to Disney. I've seen some people interpret it that way, and I don't think it is. I mean, ultimately, we don't have all the answers. We're just speculating from a point of view of having to. And again, I think we should say at this point, anything on these, Ask Us episodes is always just our opinion. And Norrin, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one.
Wait, what do you have?
I'm sorry. Excuse me?
Nothing.
Oh.
Forget it. No.
A sphincter says what?
God.
Right. Here's a juicy. Oh my! One of them is so juicy and long, we might save it. But I'm going to flip to the other group now. PJ Ryan. I have a question. Why can't Upper Deck provide more advance notice of releases like the MCU does with movies? So I'm going to start this one.
Much.
I'm going to start this one because...
Start it out.
Well, they're completely different things. It's not even comparing apples with pears. It's comparing apples with unicorns. The movies are obviously
delicious.
They are absolutely delicious, especially marinated in a nice brandy sauce with orange peel.
That's disgusting.
Oh,
you have no feelings. They have souls, people.
Not really. No, I've already told a really poor taste in the McCartney joke this evening, so clearly not.
You're already there.
Yeah. I've already opened that door to the bottom level over there.
Or that can of worms.
That can of worms. I just opened it and ate them. So, MCU does a movie. So obviously those movies are their biggest source of income. None of the other stuff would happen without the movies. So needless to say, they get all of the budget focus. They get all of the budget attention. And they're the prime driver for everything else. I mean, don't get, let's not mince our words here. The MCU movies are now what drives what happens in the comics and the decisions that are made there. It will be driving what happens with the merchandise and the licensing through T-shirts, through lunchboxes, through bumper stickers. Let's go for all the things we were talking about, through who has the rights in what country, to trading cards. And believe it or not, trading cards isn't a big thing in that stack. From the point of view of top down, it will provide them some revenue.
Hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day, but it's not big. If they look at the things of, okay, what spin-off things can we do with the logo from the new Avengers movie on and with characters on it, and they'll have if you looked at a ranking chart of things that make them the most money and earn them the most things, I imagine cards would probably, unfortunately, and hopefully this will change, be lower down on that poll. However, the good thing about the MCU sets, and this was, I remember when this was first talked about, and it was kind of and of course an aha moment, is that for the art-based sets, I'm going slightly off topic, but I will bring it back. For the art-based sets, that is quite, that is growing in popularity, but it's still quite a difficult thing for people to kind of find a way into, because there's a lot of history there, and there's a lot of people who come into it, don't know what they're doing, make a mistake when they're buying something, maybe get fleeced, maybe, and then walk away from it rather than stick it out. The MCU sets properly pull in people into the card hobby. Who maybe wouldn't have tried the card hobby, much as that might be a ghastly thing to people who always comment, who would buy photos of a movie on cards? What's that all about? Now, why don't Upper Deck provide more advance notice of releases? I think I'm going to speculate here, based on conversations we've had with them on and off the record, but also about just things I've seen them posting. I think the biggest challenge they've got at the moment, certainly over the last 18 months, is production. It's just the production and also the approvals. Because if you think about the period that we're just coming out of, so many people at so many companies were either laid off or on furlough, and that includes the licensing departments at Marvel. So in the list of things they've got to approve for licensing, I imagine cards is quite low down. Again, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I don't think that cards, if you're in the licensing department at Marvel and there's 20 of you, but 15 of you have either been laid off or furloughed and there's only 5 left, you're going to attend to the bigger things first. So I think that delays things. And I think production, when we spoke to Mike Phillips from Upper Deck, he reiterated the challenges they've had with production when Upper Deck have been doing some focus groups with collectors in MCCW. And they have, again, said that, production delays are their biggest challenges.
I think also, and I beautifully said, I think also the thing we're always hearing is that, Upper Deck doesn't want to get anybody's hopes up either. No. You know what I mean? I think it looks a lot worse saying a date and then continuously push back. And we've had that experience with the Marvel Masterpieces 2016 set, right? Like there've been experiences where sets were announced and then they were pushed back for whatever reason, for good reasons most of the time. Yeah. Quality control, or, artists needs more time and does great work, things like that. The releases I would love, and we have talked in Upper Deck about this, having an idea of what's coming, because I think a lot of us collectors are very conscious about, okay, this year I have a choice between Premiere, Metal, or blank, right? Which one do I want to put all my eggs in, which one am I going to hold my money for? Yeah. Because it's hard when, you say, I'm going to hold my money for this particular set, and then the set's pushed back a year. I think that's always really difficult, but hopefully that starts to change. Hopefully that gets better, but do know that most of the times it's not anyone's particular fault. It's mostly because they're trying to and I'm not protecting anybody or being biased. I'm just saying that having a little bit of look on the inside and speaking to everyone here, it's usually they're trying to stop it from being a bigger aggravation than it already is, if that makes sense. Yeah,
because if you say a date and keep missing it, that's actually more detrimental than if you don't say a date and then you.
I would think so.
Yeah,
exactly. I would think so.
So hopefully PJ.
Good question though.
PJ. Are PJ's pajamas in America?
Yes.
Good. Just checking.
Yeah.
It's one of those cultural things that I might have just put my foot in again.
Yeah.
Let's flip back to the other list. Ooh, is one that you'll... I was going to call you Martin then. I don't know why. I'll call you Martin.
Fine. Not a bad name to be called.
It's fine, yeah. Actually, no. I'm going to Dave Kerr's question. Am I too late?
Ooh.
For what, dear Dave? What is the deal with character licensing? Icarus from the Eternals has been rejected by Marvel in 2 sets so far. Masterpieces by Dave Palumbo and Unbound by Fred Ian. What is the issue with Upper Deck and this character? So I wanted to raise that now because it kind of follows on from what we've just talked about. It won't be Upper Deck on that. It'll be completely Marvel. I imagine they'll have decided that they want to
They're controlling a character.
Yeah, they want that character some oxygen. They want to give that character some breathing room and oxygen so that the visual ident of the movie is the primary one for the bigger audience. Because don't forget, currently what Icarus from the Eternals looks like, as well as a lot of other people in the rather small kind of circles that we talk in. Jerry, who's 12 from Bumake, Minnesota, doesn't know who Icarus from Eternals looks like. But what Disney want is the first time that kid in Minnesota sees that character, they want it to be the definitive movie version of it, which leads to brand recognition, which builds to ancillary sales, so that when that character does come back into trading cards, it can be similar enough for there to be a crossover.
A good correlation.
And that's why it's simply brand control of a character's visual identity is what I would assume, knowing what I the limited amount I do know from working with branded stuff from Disney in my own work. And that
I think it's a good sign. I think it's a good sign too. You know what I mean? Like if you do have a character that is kind of being held back for something, or Blade and other characters who are kind of like, in some way being very much protected. Yeah, it sucks to have a character not come out. That's trust me, speaking to the choir. But like, you also have to know that means they're taking that character seriously. Yeah. It's not something they're just willing to throw out to the wolves. They want that character to have a unique identity. For instance, like let's look at like Star-Lord, right? Star-Lord is a very different character than once was Star-Lord.
Oh yes.
Right. It's so incredibly different now. And like Ian said, very much based on the MCU. Our total understanding of Star-Lord now in the pop culture zeitgeist or whatever you call it is the character that was in the MCU. Same for Groot, same for Rocket Raccoon and Drax. And I think we'll see that for Surfer, Human Torch. I mean, Doom. Look at Kane, right? Kane is just starting to be identified as someone very unique and unique in the sense of how Marvel wants people to understand who Kane is as a character. And, that those decisions are being made by Marvel, not Upper Deck. So it is very much a purposeful thing that's happening here, not a thing that's arbitrary or, trying to mess with us poor collectors who are just trying to keep things straight, but it's frustrating for sure. But I would see it as a good thing. Yeah. As I do. That's what I see it as a good thing personally.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever read anything Guardians of the Galaxy before the films came out.
No one did. That's very few people did.
And so now my visual, when I see visuals of what those characters used to look like, and not that long ago, I'm like, wow, yeah, they completely reinvented them. And so I imagine that's exactly the same with Eternals.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen with the Eternals. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Eternals will be some of those characters. I think, what is it? Black Knight or Harrington is playing.
No, you're thinking of
he's playing the Knight, right? No,
but it's not him. It's the other bloke from Game of Thrones, the one who got offed at the Red Wedding. What's his name?
Oh, it's not Harrington. It's not Kit. I thought Kit was Black Knight.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I do think you're going to see some characters being reinvented and reshown and reimagined. And I think those will happen for the Eternals. And the Eternals is a good place to start, actually, because, especially with everything where the MCU is going with the timelines and variants, getting us introduced to characters that are the Celestials, right? The biggies, the people that control particular natural things in the universe, like Galactus and everybody.
Have you seen what came up in my Google result?
Yeah, I remember that movie.
So if you Google
that's funny, the 2001 Black Knight movie,
you get the Martin Lawrence movie from 2001, which is only rated 4.9.
And they lost money on that.
Oh boy, I'm absolutely.
It's no Hollywood blockbuster, but it's not that bad of a comedy movie.
Oh my goodness me! Let me add the word Marvel into this search then, and just see what happens.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah, no, it is Kit Harington.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, there it is. It's Black Knight.
Have they actually of him yet?
Dane Whiteman. What happened?
Have they released any images of him as Black Knight yet?
No, this is all garbage.
Oh, hang on.
They've shown him in the trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen it, I don't think.
Oh, not in costume. Sorry, just him standing there.
Oh, okay.
He's looking.
Got all these cookie pop-ups, so I'll just close that window. I get the idea. Kit Harington. Cookie. Me want cookie.
Cookie.
Cookie. I'm sorry. I'm going to laugh at this
it's
one.
Okay.
Right, we're going to do two more. But this next question just made me laugh. Not least of which, what came underneath it. So it's Dave Kurz again. Dave. And we'll hold the other ones, I think.
Dave.
Our guest on Sunday when we record next. What are some ways for collectors to make money within the hobby other than flipping cards? Is there potential for Marvel cards to make a resurgence within brick and mortar stores, or is the future going to be even more internet centered than it is today? And what made me laugh is he then followed it up with with another comment. Matt Malachek messaged you with a trade question. He replied.
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love it.
To make money within the hobby other than flipping cards, because there's kind of two parts to this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're a dealer, then obviously you'll buy products and then sell it. There are kind of there are three types of people here. There's dealers, there's breakers, and there's flippers. Okay, so dealers obviously deal, and some of them open the product, but most of them sell them, boxed.
Yeah,
and there aren't that many
sealed
products as we've talked about.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough out there, and I genuinely don't understand that mindset from Upper Deck with that. But I think it's all around safeguarding that distribution for their hockey product, and Marvel just has to go along with it. I think that's where it comes from.
Oh, that's a good one. That's probably true.
It's sports, and that's what makes them the really big dollars, I think.
Yeah, big bucks.
So there's that. I think, and then there's obviously breakers, and they're the people that take the risk. They open the product, and then they sell their individual cards. So, that's fine. And then there's flippers, people who may try and buy stuff low and then sell it for higher. And I personally don't tend to see them. I see them come and go in Marvel cards, but I don't see many people that
Marvel cards is not easy to
that's the thing
flip.
Yeah,
because Marvel cards is not really, you have to understand, flipping cards is not something that happens so easy with Marvel cards. It happens easier with sports because the audience is so wide and you have multiple buyers. Look, this hobby is extremely small. When flippers enter this hobby, it's painfully obvious, and all of us see them immediately for what they are. And unless they are trying to hunt for something and they just happen to want to flip to get to another card, which is not flipping in my book. And I understand people will disagree with that.
That's kind of,
but for me,
if you're doing it,
that's laddering. Yeah. Like you can't look for, and I don't speak for everybody, but I think most people tend to do what I do, which is I'll have fun opening a product, but if I get cards that are not PC, I sell them for what they're going for. I don't say, well, I bought this box for $200. So each card's going to be this amount that adds up to 200. I think that's ridiculous to expect anybody to do that. And if you disagree with that, whatever, but I think that's crazy. I think what's nice is when fortune falls well on you, because it is gambling in some regards,
it is,
you can have a nice little moment and get something you like. And I think that brings enjoyment to people. But flipping Marvel cards, the only reason you can't really get going with that in this hobby is because it's smaller and we all know each other very, very well. And we know what everybody has. It's still very early for Marvel. So in terms of like what Ian was saying, is there other ways to make money? If you mean make money by recuperating what you opened up in a box and moving up, that is 100% possible. I think the groups help with that. I think Instagram helps with that. I think their eBay helps with that. So I think there is a way to get your money back out of a box or to trade up through buying and selling.
Do it quickly.
That is the best advice in the world. If a product comes out and you open physical product, find what you want fast, sell the rest.
Yeah.
You have what, 2-3 weeks after EPAC, and then it's over. Once everyone collects the achievements, once everyone collects the achievements off EPAC and there's nothing else people need from there, it's just a decline. And it's not like cards hit rock bottom. The cards that are going to stay up. The cards that are easy to find and not hard numbered are going to go down naturally. But it's definitely something to think about for sure. If you're doing that kind of stuff, I think that's possible. But in terms of making hobby, like making money, like real money, I think you have to be very well connected. You have to know what people want. And even then people will very much rather, I mean, there's someone right now trying to sell things who I won't mention any names, but they were trying to sell something. And I know they're a flipper, and I kind of want this card. And I spoke to a few people. I reminded myself how much I dislike what this person has done to other people in the hobby and the cruel nature that they did with particular cards. And guess what? I'm not picking up that card, and I'm willing to let it go. And I think that tends to happen a lot more in Marvel because we tend to all be, very close to our collections and very close to each other because it is a very small hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're also quite happily, and I'll bleep this out as I normally do, but have you seen the 1977 Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Yes.
So at the end, when Donald Sutherland's face goes like that.
That's not in Body Snatchers.
Yes, it is. It's in the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Donald Sutherland.
Isn't that the one where he's a psychic and he's like having to be a detective and find his kid?
No, you're thinking of
what is that?
The red. I'm
messing you up.
You're thinking of Don't Look Now.
Don't Look Now. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Go ahead.
But yes. No. So at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, when Donald Sutherland goes, everyone in the hobby, when someone comes along who genuinely is, everyone in the hobby goes, and everyone else just like oil in water just avoids.
Yep. Very true.
Yes, you'll spot them, people, and they're out there. Anyway,
that's good. I like that. That needs to be a meme. And who
might be
who needs to do that is Pan. What's his name on Instagram? I talk to him all the time.
Pancake Analytics. We've got to.
There you go.
We've got to get him.
We got to get him on. He's got to make that.
We just need to arrange it.
He'll come on. He'll have a blast.
He'll definitely come on.
He's great.
If you're not East Coast or West Coast, if you're somewhere in the middle, we tend to have trouble because of the way.
Oh God! What a trip.
Is there potential for Marvel cards to make that Donald Sutherland image will be actually on the episode visuals. It's going to be on the tile.
I love it. That's going to be great.
Is there a potential for Marvel cards to make a resurgence within brick and mortar stores, or is the future going to be internet centered than it is today? Well, let me say this: e-commerce is not going away anytime soon. It is. Mm-hmm. It has been the new normal for some time. COVID has only just accelerated that massively. I mean, a lot of things that I've read in kind of industry press that I work in have said that in the space of about 3 months last year, digital advancement from many firms went ahead 5 years because they simply had to adapt or die. So, that is simply the reality of it. Is there a potential for Marvel cards to make a resurgence? Yes, I would say pending two things. First of all, Upper Deck's distribution model would have to completely change, and they would have to actually allow that to happen. So the biggest block to that happening is, frankly, them and their distribution model at the moment. The second thing is it will always be a niche thing simply because of the price of cards. It will always be, it won't be, every high street and every mall like it used to be back in the day in the 90s. Those days are over.
Yeah.
So I often see people saying, "Oh, why can't it be like it was?" It's because that's called the past, and unfortunately, things don't say the same. So listen, if it's a hobby shop or a card store, because you guys are lucky enough to have those in the States, or a comic shop, and they're able to stock them, I think that would be a really, really, really good thing for the hobby. unfortunately.
I think it'd be a great thing for the hobby.
Yeah, and that is simply down to, the way that it's currently being distributed. And that is a decision that could be made, but isn't being made for reasons we don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
True.
I think I'm spent on that question.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think it's good.
Last question.
Last question.
Goodness. Right. Robert Maseraccio. Yeah, Roberto Maseraccio. Come in. Sit down. You want kebab? You want chili sauce? No problem.
Kebab.
No idea where that went. Does it make sense to get serial numbered cards graded?
Hell yeah, son.
I would say, does it make sense to you? I mean, they're your cards. If you want to get them graded, get them graded. Is the first.
I mean, I think it depends.
Let's get a card graded.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think at one point, what ends up, I think getting a 1 of 1 graded is just for the aesthetic. At one point, because it's not going to matter what the grade is. Getting something 5 out of 5 and 10 out of 10. It depends how difficult it is to find those cards, because really realistically, if a card exists and there's only 5 of them, you're really only ever going to find 3, maybe 4 tops. So getting 1 graded means you're comparing that graded one to the other raw 3 and asking for a giant premium on the sell value. I don't know if that's going to work out for you. I think something like, out of 200, like 199, maybe if you want it, something out of 99 is possible. I think people are the real answer to that question is this. There are people doing it, and there's very few people who would consider paying a premium for those cards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would actually say for me, the appeal with graded cards are the ones that aren't numbered, that are 10 a penny.
That's what I agree on. Because that's what you're doing when you grade a card that's not numbered. That's 1 out of like 1,000 or 2,000 or even more, maybe 5,000 of those cards exist. 100,000 maybe. I think what you're doing by grading that card is you are actually technically giving it a hard number, right? And that's considered something that's called a pop count. Beckett, PSA, SGA, HG, whatever it's called. I forget.
SGC.
SGC, right? Maybe it's SGC. Yeah. All good companies. What they do is they're keeping a record of how many of those cards exist and in what grade. And that's called a pop count, population count. And that's really something that's, didn't make a lot of sense a year ago to a lot of people. A lot of people did not see that as a real thing to do. And now it very much is. And the only reason for that is not because of resale value, which is a big part of it. But I think also it's because people are home, they have a chance to look at all these cards, and they kind of like, and some collectors are this way where they're like, I want these cards, but I want them in really good condition. And I think sometimes it's a nightmare to ask anybody, hey, do you think this is in good condition? And they're like, yeah, man, that's awesome. It's a great card. It's in excellent condition, man. And then you get the card and it's scratched up, corners a dent, and there's a coffee stain at the top. You know what I mean? It drives me nuts. That's the only reason I would say that makes a lot of sense. But like with what Ian said, I think the ones that are not numbered are actually the real smart ones to get graded. But, I think at one point, everything, my opinion is that everything will be graded at one point in Marvel, because it will get bigger and the audience will get bigger and there'll be more product out there. So I think that's just the natural. It seems to be like the natural tendency of collectibles for the future, 20, 30 years from now, everything will be authenticated and certified by 2-3 major companies, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's... for me, if it's out of 5 or if it's out of 10, that card's going to hold its value whether it's graded or not.
For sure.
So yeah, because there's so few of them. I mean, look how long it took you to find that Surfer, and that was out of 10.
Yeah. So like, and I hate bringing this up because I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. But like, I graded my Blue Surfer and got a 9. I told you I should, right? Yes. Yeah. But you see that Blue Surfer PMG is out of 50. and they're a particularly hard card to grade anyway. So, and I wanted to try it out. That was a real thing for me. I got really lucky. I was like, I've never sent one in to be graded, and I wanted to see what I wanted to really check my eye and understood if I knew how to check the condition of a card and be, fairly accurate on what the assessment was of the grade, which luckily I was. So, with the help of Graded Gamer and, everyone in the hobby, making sure I understand what I'm looking at there. But I did that for me, but that did increase the value of the blue. So that is something to say, because that is a pop 1. So that did increase the value of that particular card, but I haven't graded the green yet.
Interesting.
Because not that I won't, but it's just like, you know what I mean? At that point, you know what I mean? That's really expensive. I mean, it's not expensive because obviously the value of that card will go up high enough to cover my costs. But again, it's a PC card. It's not going anywhere. So why would I grade it off the bat? Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
I would just, that's what I would think about. Different reasons.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. It's like, why do you want to get the card graded? Whether it's numbered or not numbered, what's your end game? If you're doing it to increase value, if you're doing it for PC, if you're doing it just for display, because I've now got 4 PSA Black Cats. PSA is my poison of choice. And you know what? One of them's an 8, one of them's a 9, I think. One of them's a 10. I think might be 2 8s in there. And you know what? I don't care, because for me, it's having a copy of that card that's got instantly will display well.
Yes, and that's what really grabs me. Yeah, so, it was the display feature.
And
for me.
I saw
that's a biggie.
I saw someone on group comment the other day. It's like, I can't remember how they phrased it, so I might muff this, but I think they said something to the point of like, if it comes back 7s or 8s, it's like, who's going to buy that? It's like, well, I will.
Yeah, people will. You'd be surprised. Eventually, look, this happened with Pokemon, right? A lot of cards at one point that were 9s and 10s are impossible to get now. This happens with sports cards. You know what I mean? So getting a 7 or an 8 is all you can do. I don't think it's a waste.
I can't remember which ones I've got now. Let me have a look in my little folder on my phone.
Well, you have the MM95, which is gorgeous. The
MM95, so that was my first one. Thank you, Amanda.
That's pretty.
Z of Graded Gamer. Go and check her out on Instagram at Graded Gamer. The Rockstar Gamer, I believe. And she's a quite frankly a legend. Legendary. So I recently picked up a 92 Masterpieces Black Cat. Just go 8. Graded 8. I don't care. And Black Cat embossed from the 2008 set, and that's a 7. But I think that's a particularly tough one because of the fact that it's embossed.
And very difficult. Anything embossed is a nightmare. But you know what? It was cheap as chips. I love it. But see, that's awesome though, man. I love that. I would pick up Surfers at those grades.
I'm done.
Unless if I didn't have it, I wouldn't. I picked up a 9 Silver Surfer Flare. The 94 Flare. Oh, that looks great.
Doesn't it look good graded?
Wow. It just looks nice. It looks good. I like the way slabs feel. I know this is ridiculous.
What they describe houses, curb appeal.
Yes. I like slabbed cards. I like holding them. It's ridiculous. I'm not pushing grading on anybody. No, really, please. Nice. It's a lot of money sometimes.
And you know what? I'm not going to do it for every card. Oh, I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram.
I did. I loved it. Emily and I saw it.
I cracked that out of its.
Good for you, man. Why are you going to have a sketch card in there?
I know. Well, it's GMA, and I don't know who GMA are. I'm sure they're a perfectly fine company, but I just want PSA. Personally, just because it was my first one, and I blame Amanda because she was my gateway drug.
That is her fault. 100%. No, I blame her too.
Just get hooked on the good stuff.
It's her fault. All of this is her fault. I'm going to be honest.
To be honest with you, I think that's a good point to end it on. Amanda Z has the blame stick, but she, like all of the rest of us, will always carry on
and enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling at the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.